What is up, everybody? NFL preseason, we're a week in and we have tons to talk about. Justin is back with us tonight, and we've also got Casey here. But I'm gonna just go ahead and start with Justin because a lot of we're just gonna get straight to it. A lot of what we've been talking about in the group chat has been, regarding the Patriots. So I want your take on that. But first, Casey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, man. It was a good opening week of the preseason. There was a lot of questions going into week one of the preseason. And one that you and I were discussing, Ian, last week that I kind of want Justin to,
Right.
as a Patriots fan, I want him to dive into. And I know you weren't here last week, Justin. Ian and I were discussing the possibility of Joe Milton walking out there week one against Cincinnati being the starter, and if it's career suicide to do so for Gerard Mayo. Ian and I both said yes, for the simple fact that you're either not playing the veteran or you're passing over the third overall pick in the first round to start a 6th-round quarterback, and that could lose the locker room drastically if it fails. And so I'm going to pass it to you here, Justin. Do you think there's any shot Joe Milton starts? And if he does, is it career suicide for Gerard Mayo?
No, he will not start. Yes, it would be career suicide. Milton is right now third on the depth chart, as he should be right now, considering experience and where he was drafted.
Yes.
Is he lighting it up did he light it up in the preseason game? Did he have like those shades of Dante Culpepper, Michael Vick with that scramble on like Cam Newton? Cam Newton was the best imagery that I have with that scramble and for 16 some odd yards he scrambled for. But is he a feel good story? Absolutely. Is he starter ready? No. And to insinuate that he would start over Brissett and May is career suicide. If Mario did that, absolutely career suicide. Now, what I would say is that the Patriots quarterback room is an absolute dumpster fire right now. Today's joint practice with the Eagles, Patriots quarterbacks as a whole went 16-28 with 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and don't fall over, 14 sacks.
Oh.
How long of the fucking quarter? I mean, was it a
sacks?
scrimmage?
14 sacks in joint practice with the Eagles this afternoon.
So the rules for joint practice, is it 15-minute quarters? Kind of more scrimmage format, but it's like that's
Mm-hmm. Now, the only shining light in that is in 7-on-7s, Drake May, who was running first team 7-on-7s, was 6 of 6. But 5 of them were in the flat. They were all checkdowns for the most part. He did have one nice toss to Jalen Polk in the end zone, which was the one bright spot on the entire day for the quarterback crew. But dear God Almighty, it's going to be a long year.
The reports that I've been hearing, and it's kind of, no, I wouldn't say been confirmed, but the reports that I've been seeing online and due to the week 1 footage, and you could argue that it was due to weather that May only played that one series because you don't want to throw him out there in that type of situation. But the reports are that Milton has looked the best out of all 3 so far.
Yeah, in terms of how he's played, for sure. I have no idea why in the hell they had Bailey Zappi playing for as long as he did.
I think that's because they're setting up Bailey Zappi for trade bait, and they want to get as much film
out
there
as
they can.
But who wants him? Who needs him? Well, Minnesota needs him now.
I say maybe Minnesota needs a backup now. If you can even get a 5th rounder for Zappi, I think it's worth it.
Maybe a 4th because he has a starting experience.
Possibly. I mean, I think, a 4th is probably, I think that would be ideal. But I think a 5th is more realistic.
Sure.
But I agree with you for first and foremost. Like you said, we're all on the same page. There's no way that Milton can start week 1. It just can't happen because the second things go awry in that situation, Gerard Mayo is going to lose that locker room for either A, not starting the veteran, or B, not starting the number 3 overall pick. And he went with the 6th rounder. If that happens, now if it pays off, if it didn't, he paid off, he's gonna look like the genius, like a second coming of Bill Belichick, 100%. But
Sure.
the odds of Joe Milton becoming the next Tom Brady are what, 1 in a million? Like in all realistic odds, people say 1 in a million all the time, but that's probably realistic.
He'd have to be like Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant to have that happen. That kind of
And
thing.
let's be honest, the Patriots don't have the type of roster the 49ers had for Brock Purdy to become Mr. Irrelevant.
Exactly. And it's going to be a long year. I know we said optimistically the Patriots would have 6 wins. I think that's what I said, optimistically.
Yes.
Realistically, probably 4. I might need to bring that down to 3.
You think they're going to be that bad, just based off what you've seen in the preseason?
Oh my gosh, that offensive line is worse than Swiss cheese.
Your defense still looks good, though. Your first team defense shut down Carolina when you were out there for that one series. Obviously, I know it's one series. That doesn't matter. It looked ferocious. It looked fast. The defense still looks good.
Yes, but the defense doesn't oftentimes put points on the board.
That's true. That's true.
If you can't put points on the board, it doesn't matter.
I think that New England's ceiling probably could be around there, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 3 to 6. I think is the ceiling.
There's still a top 10 drafting team next year as it stands right now.
Yes.
Unless something just like angels in the outfield kind of thing happens right now. It's a top 10 drafting year next year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, you got to think about it from just an overall talent standpoint from their roster. It's just not there.
I mean, they've got the building blocks, but they don't have the experience or the real like.
There's no threats outside. I don't understand why New England cannot get a receiver. I know the Brandon Ayuk thing fell apart because Brandon Ayuk straight up said, I don't want to go to New England. And to be honest, I don't blame him.
Neither do I, because the situation there is awful in terms of offensively, because it is awful. And there's no denying that it's awful.
The Patriots post Brady are almost like the Bulls post Jordan. Nobody wants to go there anymore.
That's painful, but it's true. It's painful, but it's true.
Because I can't think of one thing that would make somebody want to be in New England. Like I could see somebody
unless you're a defensive player.
Yeah, for sure. But even then, if you're a top-notch defensive player, do you want to be on the other side of the field and watch your offense struggle every week and still not win games?
Right. No, again, if you're looking for defensive accolades, that's a place to consider.
Yes, of course. Because I would say New England is still top 4, 5, 6 in the defense. No question.
That secondary is beast mode, ready to happen.
Yes, and your pass rush is still there.
Judon, actually, a little bit of news on Judon, who was a bit of a contract holdout. Their team's pulling out feelers to see if the Patriots will trade him because of his contract situation. I don't think that's going to happen. But
I can't imagine.
I can't see it either. I mean, crazier things have happened, obviously, but I just don't see that happening. But
I mean, you could get a second and a third for Judon, or even possibly a first for a team that
a late first, probably.
For a team that desperately needs a pass rush, I could see you getting a first.
Baltimore could probably pass on a late round first.
Yeah, I could see Baltimore doing that because you could argue that Baltimore is just a piece away defensively, and it could be that elite pass rusher.
And Judon has experience in Baltimore's defensive scheme anyway.
Yeah. I could see that taking place. I don't think it will. I don't think it's happening. But if he were to go anywhere, I could see there's only a handful of teams that I could see actually making that trade. Yeah.
But in a nutshell, though, the Patriots. I mean, one of the biggest disappointments, again, like we were talking about after the first preseason game with Carolina, is that Drake May only played one series, and a lot of local pundits were saying we were expecting to see him play for at least a quarter or something, at least a few series, as opposed to 7 total snaps, which was the lowest snaps taken by a first round drafted quarterback in the last 10 years.
Do you think it was weather related? They didn't want to throw him out there in just those crappy conditions?
Not at all. I think they're still got the training wheels on him. They don't want him to get hurt because he's a third round draft pick, third overall pick.